They told me to step down like I'm some child who needs permission to speak. They came with their letters, their soft voices, their fake smiles, telling me it's time to exit with dignity, telling me I'm a disruption to their order. You want to know what disrupts order? Corruption, hunger, foreign hands pulling strings while our people bury their dead. And now you tell me I am the problem. Because I won't sign your dirty deals. Because I refuse to kneel when you knock. Because I speak directly to the people instead of hiding behind protocol. Let me say this so the whole world hears me. I will not step down. Not today. Not ever. Until every child in Burkina Faso knows what it means to live with dignity. You call this leadership inconvenient? Good, because comfort has never built a nation. You think I'm afraid of your isolation. You think I'm worried about your consequences. I faced bullets. I've faced betrayal and I'm still standing. So listen carefully. I wasn't put here by a committee. I was carried here by the voices of a people who are tired of being lied to. You want me gone? You come do it yourself. Because I will not walk away. Not when the real thieves are still in suits. Not when the ones writing me letters are the same ones who watched us starve in silence. I didn't come here to play politics. I came to end the game. So no, I will not step down. I will step forward. And I dare anyone to try and push me back. They told him to step down. They said it with smiles, with handshakes, with long-winded speeches about regional harmony and stability. Behind closed doors, the message was different. It wasn't a request. It was an ultimatum. Step down or be pushed. The pressure didn't come from enemies in the shadows. It came from so-called allies, diplomats, insiders who once shook his hand and praised his leadership. Now they said he had become too disruptive, too independent, too dangerous to the established order. Captain Ibrahim Traoré listened to everything, calm, silent. But inside he understood what this really was, a soft demand to surrender. They didn't want to fight. They wanted quiet obedience. They wanted Burkina Faso returned to the days of silence when deals were made in foreign boardrooms and rubber stamped in powerless capitals. He had seen it before. This was just another way to steal power from the people. For 3 days he said nothing. The country waited. Rumors spread. Was he stepping down? Was he gone? And then without warning the silence broke. Screens across Burkina Faso flickered. Radio stations cut their broadcasts. Phones lit up. And then a single image filled the airwaves. Captain Traoré dressed in a plain black shirt seated at a bare wooden table. Flag, no emblem, no generals, just him and the people. He looked straight into the lens and began. They told me to step down, he said. His voice was steady. They called it a peaceful transition, a recommendation, a diplomatic suggestion. But I know what it was. A warning, a threat dressed in courtesy. He held up a letter, a real one, printed and marked. This arrived in my office. It says, I am disrupting alliances, that my continued leadership poses a risk. But it never says the word people. Not once. It talks about interests, stability, assets, agreements, but not Burkina lives, not our struggles, not our future. He stood slowly, the camera still. Let me be clear. This country is not an asset. It is not for sale. And I did not come here to manage deals. I came to return power to those who have lived without it for too long. Outside the streets were already alive. People poured out of homes, shops, and schools. The country wasn't reacting. It was rising. The broadcast was shared everywhere on rooftops, at intersections, inside military barracks. No edits, no filters, just the raw, unfiltered voice of a man refusing to kneel. I understand the risks, he continued. I know what happens to leaders who don't bow. But I would rather eat with my people under sanctions than dine with those who forgot what hunger looks like. His voice didn't shake. It sharpened. They want me to step down. I've only just stepped in. And with that, the screen went black. The message detonated across the continent. Within hours, headlines carried the weight of his words. Youth groups from Senegal to Chad reposted clips. Activists in Ghana and Mali painted murals with the quote, "This country is not an asset." Former commanders spoke out in support. Ministers who had once stayed quiet finally broke ranks. The internet didn't just echo his voice. It carried it like wildfire. The next morning, something changed. The pressure stopped. The envoys didn't return. The insiders didn't speak. They hadn't just underestimated Traoré's resolve. They had underestimated his people. Because this wasn't about holding on to a seat. It was about refusing to surrender the future. It wasn't about defiance for the sake of pride. It was about reminding the world that Burkina Faso would not be run by the frightened hands of foreign interests. Traoré didn't call for war. He didn't threaten. He didn't beg. He simply spoke. And it broke the script. The very idea that a president could face global pressure and answer with nothing but truth, that was what broke the internet. Not the man, but the moment. They told him to step down, but instead he stood taller than.